Okay, grade twos. So we've been talking about pictographs in JumpMath. We're on page 100 out of JumpMath 2.1. And this one is called drawing pictographs. So on our last one, we looked at pictures of pictographs. Remember, a pictograph is just a graph using pictures to show something. So in this one, it shows shoes we wore today, and it shows some people wore boots and some people wore sandals. And you can compare, you can see one boot, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 boots and 2 sandals. Okay, and then we can answer questions about this information because it's all organized nicely for us. So today we're going to be looking at these graphs. Now, sometimes people can make mistakes in graphs, and there's some important things to know about making a pictograph. So I'm going to show you some things that can go wrong so that you'll know not to do those things. Okay, so I'm just going to show you here a couple pictographs right here. This is after school classes. So these are classes kids take after school. Some kids are taking art, music, and soccer. And this is a pretty nice graph. They've got nice little pictures, but what do you think could be the problem with this graph? There's something wrong. Well, if you look at the pictures here, if I was just to look at this graph, it looks like this part goes way over here. So it looks like there's more people taking art because it's way over here. The line goes that far, and music stops right in the middle, and soccer is way over here too. So if I just looked at where these graphs are going to, I would think that more people were taking art and soccer than music. But what is wrong here is that the pictures are not all the same size. So when you're making a graph, a pictograph, you have to make sure your pictures and symbols are all the same size and that they're lined up. So for instance, here, the soccer ball, there's no soccer ball here. There's a space, and then the soccer ball stood here. Everything has to start at the beginning and then go across. And I'm just going to see if I don't have my thing with me today. Okay. I'm going to draw this for you. Okay, so I'm just going to draw on here the same graph, but I'm going to make the symbols a little bit different, and I'm going to make sure they're all lined up together so that we can easily see what the information that the chart is telling us. So it's called after school classes. So if you are making a pictograph, you need to have a title on it so people know what it's about, okay? And there's art, music, and soccer. Okay, so now I have my headings. I can look here and I see there's 2 paintbrushes. So I'm going to use the same symbol. I'm going to use a little paintbrush. It's a paintbrush. And this is a paintbrush. Okay. There's 2. And then the music, I like the little music notes. So I'm going to still use the music notes, but I'm putting them in, spreading them out so they take up the same amount of space as the paintbrushes. Like one symbol for music needs to take up the same space as one symbol for art. And then soccer, the balls. So I'm not good at drawing soccer ball, I'll just make a circle. Soccer, soccer. Okay, so now it's easier to read this graph. I can see that art is not, there's only 2 people taking art, and 4, I can see here that there's more people taking music and then soccer or art. It's a lot easier to read this graph than to read this one. So that's what's wrong. They have to have, all the symbols need to be the same size and lined up after one another. Okay, so now I'm going to show you this graph here. It's called Our Birthplaces. So it has people that were born in Canada and people born outside of Canada. So You can see there's lots of happy faces. They're using the same symbol for both things, which that is okay. But what is wrong with this? What do you think is wrong? You look here, what do you see? I see some empty spaces. So when you're making a pictograph, you have to start from left to right, and you can't leave any spaces. So all of these need to be squished over to fill up the spaces so that we can read the graph, because we should just have to look at this part of the graph, the ending, and see which one is farther. So here it shows that more people are born in Canada than outside of Canada. So now I'm going to redo this one over here. Canada and outside of Canada. Okay. Okay, so now I'm going to put the happy faces in. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And in the bottom, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So now you can see there's no spaces. And when I look at the graph now, I can see there's more people born outside of Canada than inside. So it's really important not to leave any spaces. Okay, so in your book, they have a graph. We're going to look at this together. It says use the graphs to answer questions. Answer the question. So the good thing about graphs is they give us information, and then we can answer questions and we know things up from the graph. So that's what we're practicing. It's showing people lunch in Miss Lee's class. So at this school, some kids go home and some kids stay at school for lunch. So at school, and they're just using a letter to represent that kids that stay at school and a letter to represent home. So H for home, S for school. So they've put in this many kids that go to school or stay at school for lunch and this many that go home. Well, it's easy to see on this chart which one is more. More people go home. So more students in Miss Lee's class eat lunch, and then you would write at home than at school, because you can read that on this chart. Okay, here's Mr. King's class now. Now this chart, we just did a chart that was sort of like this. There's some mistakes in this chart. There's spaces. See, it should, all of these S's should be pushed together. And it makes it a lot harder to read the chart. So that's something that's wrong. So here what they want you to do is fix the graph so that it's easier to read. So you can use the same symbol. At school is S, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8, so it should be right together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 S's. And then you count how many H's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And you're going to put those here. Now it's easy to read the graph because they line up and you can see which part of the graph is going farther than the other. Mr. King's students think more of them, they think, because they're looking at this chart. If I look at this chart, the S's are ahead of the H's. Mr. King's students think more of them eat at school than at home. Is that correct? So do more eat at school than at home? It's because this is got spaces. You can't have spaces. So then you're going to take information from Miss Lee's class and from Mr. King's class, and you're going to put it in this chart. And it's only lunch at school. So you're only doing the parts that were at school. And so in Miss Lee's class, you can put in S's if you want for how many S's did Miss Lee's class have? Because we're comparing Miss Lee's class with Mr. King's. And then you fill in the chart, Miss Lee's class and then Mr. King's class. Which teacher has more students eating at school? And then how many more? So you have to figure out how many more that teacher has. So that's the first page you're going to be doing. Okay, on the next page, you're going to be doing more. This time you're going to be drawing some charts. You're going to be filling in the charts. They're going to give you the data, which is the information, and then you put it into the chart. Remember, don't leave spaces. Make sure they start at the left and go to the right, and make sure that your symbols are going to fit in these boxes. You can't have some symbols bigger than others, which will be more important down here where they didn't give you boxes. Okay. All right. So we're going to just do a little chart here. This is a girl, Tessa. She's going to camp and she's taking some clothing with her to camp. And I'm going to draw the chart here. So we'll just draw the box. Okay. And there's 4 different things. So I'm going to make 4 columns or 4 rows here, and then make some spaces. Oops. And you want, this is important to keep everything nice and even. Okay. Tessa's, I'm going to say suitcase, because this is what is in her suitcase for camp. Okay. And so she's got 4 different kinds of clothing. You can see that she's got pants, shorts, sweaters, and shirts. So that's why I have these 4 rows. So pants, shorts, sweaters, and t-shirts. Okay. All right. So let's just see here. It says she has 2 pairs of pants. So I'm going to just make a symbol that looks like pants. There's 1 pair of pants, 2 pairs of pants. How many shorts? 1. This is the data. So 1 pair of shorts. I'll make them a little smaller. Sorry if you can hear sizzling in the background. My husband's making dinner. Okay, and then here, 2 sweaters. So I'm going to try to make a sweater. I'll make a thick part in the middle with 2 sleeves, a little rectangle with 2 sleeves. You can just make nice little symbols. And then t-shirts, she's got 4 t-shirts. 4 t-shirts. I'm going to make the t-shirts just like this. That's a t-shirt. Okay, there's 2, 3, 4. Okay, so the important things to notice here, all of the things are lining up, and we start here and then we fill in every square with information. You don't leave any spaces. So it's really easy to see here, and I can see right away she's bringing more t-shirts than anything else. And her sweaters and pants, she's got the same amount. It's easy to read the graph. And that's what you want to do. Nice, easy one to read. Okay, so you can also answer lots of different questions. Oops, sorry, I'm just going to stop sharing. You can answer questions using a chart with a pictograph. And some of the questions you can answer are how many more of something, how many fewer of something, and how many altogether. So for instance, when we were just looking at the one about Tessa, she had 4 t-shirts, right? So I'm just going to write here, oops, so that you can see it, 4 t-shirts. And she had 2 sweaters. Oops, sorry. Sweaters. So if I was to find out how many more sweaters does she have than t-shirts, or I mean, how many more t-shirts does she have than sweaters, I have to subtract. I take how many sweaters she has, 4, and I subtract how many how many t-shirts she had, 4, and I subtract how many sweaters she had, and that gives me how many more t-shirts she had. Okay. I can also find out how many fewer the same way by subtracting. So she has 4 t-shirts and 2 sweaters. So 4 take away 2 is 2, so she has 2 fewer of the sweaters. And how many altogether? What do I do if I want to find out how many shirts she has altogether? She has 4 and 2. I have to add then. 4 plus 2 equals 6. So she has 6 altogether. So that's how you can answer different questions relating to your graphs. Okay, so to finish up, you just have to do page 101, where you are going to draw happy faces to show the data. So you're going to use happy faces for your symbols, for all of them, okay? Because they represent people. So they've started this one for soccer, favorite ball games. 5, here's the data, 5 like soccer the most. So they put in 5 happy faces, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3 like basketball the most. So you start basketball and you're going to put your 3. 4 like baseball. And how many more students like soccer the most than like baseball the most? So then you have to do your subtraction there to figure that out. Here you're going to write in, and they're making you fill in part of the chart here. They're not telling you everything. This is shoes we wear, running shoes, boots, and something else. You have to look at the data. And then you're going to put in happy faces to show how many people wear these things, and then answer the question. And the same thing here, it's about going to camp during the break. Kate asked friends where they will be during March break. Oh, some people are going to camp, some are going to stay at home, some go to the cottage, and some people don't know. So they're going to put those there, and you have to put the happy faces in. Remember, though, they have to be lined up. You can't have some spread out. They all have to be lined up. All right? Well, that's all for today. Bye-bye.